Hey everyone, Alodar here, and in today's video I'm going to talk about World of Warcraft graphics. This is a subject that keeps coming up over and over again in my streams. I keep seeing people talk about it all the time, and as time goes on, as the game gets more and more dated, the topic seems to be brought up more and more. So in this video I'm going to raise the topic to you, the viewer. Keep in mind that through this video I'm going to try not to take sides. I'm just going to raise it for the sake of discussion. Although I do love games with fantastic graphics, keep in mind that my favorite game of all time is still vanilla World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft, as a lot of you know, was first announced back in September 2nd, 2001 at the European Computer Trade Show. At the time, it was touted as a very bold 3D graphics game, which would allow players the ability to immerse themselves into the game. At the time, the graphics were actually considered quite decent, although they were a little cartoony. It was competing against games like EverQuest and Asheron's Call, Dark Ages of Camelot, many others. But the graphics at the time were actually considered to be pretty good. Again, like I said, a little cartoony, but still pretty good. World of Warcraft was not just a game that had decent graphics, however, though. It was also a game where the gameplay stood out, and it basically outmatched all of its competitors. Over the years, there have been many other games that have come and gone. None of them, however, have obviously had the staying power of World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft has been around for years now. Many of those games have started up and closed down. They just weren't able to stick around for as long as World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft is still one of the most popular games around, with millions still playing around the world. However, it's been well documented that the subscription rates have fallen off significantly since its peak back in the Wrath of the Lich King days. Many people don't realize this, but the concept of World of Warcraft, when it first came out, the developers actually began by trying to develop the game on the old Warcraft 3 engine. This came as a surprise to me as well, but quickly the Blizzard developers realized that the engine would not accomplish what they needed, both mechanically and visually. So Blizzard decided to develop their own engine at this point. Many of the bits from the Warcraft 3 engine were actually reused during the development, essentially to save time and money. The vanilla renderer, for example, was essentially exactly the same with the original vanilla World of Warcraft as it was in Warcraft 3. However, the UI systems were essentially entirely rebuilt to allow both customization and room to build upon that which the Warcraft 3 engine lacked. The file structures of the games were also extremely similar, although it was changed. The file structures have changed significantly since the release of vanilla, and this is actually one of the things that was causing the most problems for Blizzard to actually create these classic servers. The old file structure and the new file structure were not, they could not communicate with each other, so they basically had to redo the files from vanilla so that they could be read by the new file system, and this is what's allowing them to now actually come up with classic WoW. We know for a fact that there was shared code functionality at the time because of the alpha beta leaks at the time, and these alpha beta leaks were actually what led to the first private server development projects. On top of this, the World Edit software that Blizzard designed for Warcraft 3 was nearly entirely ported over to WoW in the new engine. The workflow and system controls are nearly identical from everything that's ever been seen. Over the years, Blizzard has continued to develop the game, however. During this time, both the gameplay and graphics have obviously evolved. Whether the gameplay has improved is subjective, obviously, for everyone. Some people like where the game's gone, other people don't like where the game's gone. The same could be said for the graphics as well. If you look at the graphics from when vanilla first came out to now, although a lot of people do like the old graphics, you can't say that they haven't changed, or maybe that there hasn't been an improvement. The real question, however, though, is have the graphics evolved enough? Over the last couple of years, the topic of graphics have come up more and more. With the release of recent games as well as upcoming releases, graphics obviously have taken a noticeable jump forward in other games. More realistic, more details, bigger explosions. The crazy special effects have essentially become the norm. So if you look, a lot of these new MMOs that have come out, the graphics are kind of outstanding. Compared to the original graphics, the effects of many things in games, such as if you look at like spells, they've improved both visually and orally. The sound effects have also taken a noticeable jump. When I came back to retail from playing on the private servers for so long, one of the first things that I did is I rolled a mage. I casted a frostbolt at the first mob, and I was like, what was that sound? And it was the sound effects had dramatically improved as well as the effects of when you cast the frostbolt. It's not just a little bolt going and hitting something now. The graphics have been improved. So anyways, let's take a look. One of the reasons that there have been such a noticeable increase in the chatter about World of Warcraft graphics has been the release of videos on YouTube by people that have created sort of alternative zones in different engines, particularly Unreal Engine 4. And one of the main people that has done this is a gentleman by the name of Daniel L. He's got a YouTube channel that I'll link below. Daniel L. began releasing these Unreal Engine videos over 2 years ago. And it was basically an example as to what World of Warcraft could look like with updated graphics. And he initially redesigned Elwynn, Forest, Goldshire, and Westfall. Immediately people started talking about these videos. People were asking me on stream, have you seen these videos? And I'd look at them, I was like, wow, that's kind of impressive. And then about 5 months ago, he then released 3 more zones. He released Duskwood, Durotar, and Grizzly Hills. I think those are the only 3. But I was about 5 or 6 months ago that he released those. And again, people started asking me, you know, what do you think about graphics? You know, and I'd show these videos in stream, and almost universally, like, there's a few people who are like, no, I like the old graphics, or I don't like those. But almost overwhelmingly, a lot of people are like, wow, I would play that. And I'll bring that point up a little bit further as well. Now, one of the arguments that I have whenever I show these videos is there's always like 1 or 2 people that says graphics don't matter, it's only gameplay that matters. And if that were the case, people wouldn't constantly be talking about games and the graphics. Whenever a new game comes out, one of the first things people talk about is, wow, look at those graphics. Wow, look at those graphics. It looks like such an amazing game. So graphics do matter. The gameplay is obviously really important, but the graphics are also important as well. So you can't just brush them off and say not important. Keep in mind, I play vanilla. I love vanilla. Anyways, and also, if they weren't important, Blizzard would never have updated the graphics. They would have bothered. They would have just said, okay, these are the graphics. Blizzard understands that the graphics are important as well, and they've done a lot to try and improve the graphics and the sound. If they weren't important, they wouldn't have done that. Of course, that didn't happen. And you know, I'm not suggesting gameplay isn't important. Like I just said a moment ago, it's the most important aspect of the game for me. But there's no reason why you can't have both fantastic graphics and fantastic gameplay. Keep in mind, when vanilla first came out, the graphics were known as being pretty decent. The gameplay was pretty decent. You can have both at one time. Although terrible gameplay can make a great visual game unplayable. If anyone's played Bliss or watched me play Bliss on stream, in my opinion, Bliss was garbage. The graphics were fantastic, but the game itself was painful to play. I played for about 2.5 hours. I was like, this is garbage, just like everyone, just like most other people, and never played again and got my money back. Anyways, bad graphics won't draw in as many people either. So like I said earlier, when a new game comes out, one of the first things people look at is the graphics and are like, wow, I want to play that. Not many people are looking at the new expansion and going, wow, that next WoW or World of Warcraft expansion, those graphics, you know, it's not really drawing people in. And that's become a problem because you're not getting a lot of fresh new people that are wanting to try World of Warcraft. And you got to keep that in mind. A lot of the people that are coming back for expansions are people that have previously played World of Warcraft. Not a huge number of those people are first-time players. So now I actually had an opportunity to speak with Daniel L. I sent him an email just hoping that, hey, maybe he'd respond. And to my surprise, he did actually, well, I don't know the guy, but he actually did very quickly. It was within a few hours I got a response from the guy. So I got his email address, sent him an email, and I asked him a few questions. So I'll read those questions off to you, and you can listen. You can hear the response and take it as you will. Now, the first question that I asked him was, "Did you do all the work yourself?" His response was, "None of these assets are mine." Or none of the assets are mine, as I'm not a 3D artist or animator or anything. So I'll just pause there for a moment. If you don't understand what he means by assets, it's when you're using an engine like Unreal Engine. There's assets that come with Unreal Engine, or you can develop your own. And assets are things like houses, cups, just generic things that you'd see in a game. He used in engine assets. When you're watching these videos, he's using assets that are in the engine to actually put on top of the landscape that he's developing. So he developed the landscape, the assets he took from the engine. You can find the sources, he continues, "You can find the sources in the description of each video, but I was alone in working in the engine, shaping the landscape and putting all the assets together to resemble Azeroth. I'm just a dude who was procrastinating instead of doing exams, and people liked it, so I kept on doing it. Reminds me a lot of other people. When I played vanilla, I'm not saying I did it, but maybe there were a couple of days where people called in sick or skipped school or what have you. So I understand where he's coming from." Second question was, "How long did it take you to redo a zone roughly?" His answer was, "In total, maybe 5 days to 2 weeks. This shocked me actually, but anyways, depending on the zone, including time waiting for the lighting to be baked, etc. Westfall was quick, but Grizzly Hills took much longer despite the map being smaller simply because of the density of the foliage, etc." So I was actually really surprised by that. To watch these videos and to see the zone that he's put together, I was shocked that it was only 5 days to 2 weeks. So I'm kind of and this is one person that's doing that. Imagine how a team could do it. And if he's doing this and you're seeing the videos playing behind me, and you're sitting there like thinking, well, one guy did this, what could an entire team do of professionals? I don't know if Daniel L is a professional. I don't know if this is what he does for a living, but it looks pretty decent. You'd wonder what a team of professionals could do. The third question: "Is it possible to turn the graphic settings down so that people with poor computers could still run the game?" I thought this was an important question. And then I continued, "Blizzard had originally intended that WoW would be able to run on most basic computers. So keep in mind, when vanilla first came out, Blizzard wanted the majority of people with computers to be able to play the game. Now, the idea of what a poor computer back in the day could not run current retail WoW. It just wouldn't be able to. So computers have been massively upgraded since that time. I can't remember what computer I was originally running World of Warcraft on, but I think right now my phone has more computing power than that computer did. So, I mean, you just keep that in mind. Now, as far as my question, could the settings be turned down? He responds, "In my version, it's not possible to turn it down enough as I didn't optimize for that. The point is really just to see how it could look. I wasn't really trying to make it playable." So essentially what he's saying is in his version he couldn't, but you could actually optimize so that it would be able to play it on poorer systems. How poor, I'm not sure, but I would assume that you could turn the graphics down quite a bit if you optimize the engine to do that. He just hasn't done that with these particular videos. He just kind of made it the way he wanted it and then just left it at that. So he didn't make the graphic settings adjustable or anything like that. So now the fourth question: "If you were to guess, how long do you think it would take a team to redo all of the zones for World of Warcraft if Blizzard wanted to update the whole game with a big patch or expansion?" His response to this was, "That's a very hard question that I'm not qualified to answer. However, I do know that creating the assets models can take a very long time. I just created the landscape and added pre-existing assets from Unreal Engine. I wouldn't know. I'm just some dude playing in Unreal for fun." So it doesn't sound like this is his profession. Daniel, if you're watching this, if I'm mistaken, let me know. But he's creating these zones in 5 days to 2 weeks. I'm really curious as to how a team of professionals that work for Blizzard, however large their teams are, how long it would take them to do this if this is what they wanted to do. It's something that I'm not qualified to answer myself either. I don't produce video games. I've never worked on a video game before. I know some people that have and have a basic knowledge of Unreal Engine and stuff like that, but I would have no idea. And even the people that I know, I don't even know if they would know, to be honest. I think this is only a question that probably Blizzard could answer. And if he's just doing this for fun, I'd be really interested to see what Blizzard could do. Could do it if they had a team doing this full time. Daniel then finished the email by saying, "Thanks for the email. I'm very happy that so many people enjoyed the videos. I really enjoyed seeing how Azeroth could potentially look." Then he said one last thing, "Though I don't think World of Warcraft should ever look like that." And I guess that's kind of the argument or the difference of opinion that many people might have. I personally, for retail, I don't think I would mind a massive upgrade for the graphics as long as the character models remained relatively similar. It would be really kind of cool to see a forest that actually looks like a forest and is realistic, etc., etc., as long as the graphics could be turned down so that people with average regular computers could still run the game fairly well. But if you really wanted to jack up the graphics, you could. One final point is that for classic servers, I want nothing to do with improved graphics. I want the classic servers to remain vanilla, no changes. I want the graphics to remain the exact same as they were when retail was first launched. So I want to make that perfectly clear. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate a thumbs up to the video. That really helps the video itself. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more videos. I'd really appreciate that. If you want to continue talking about this discussion, please either leave a comment or even better, come to my stream. It's twitch.tv/Alodar. I'll leave the link below, and I'd like to talk to you about it more there. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Talk to you again soon. Have a good day.